We are all in this together. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, March 2020. December 31st, the government in Wuhan, China confirmed that health authorities were treating dozens of cases. January 11th, Chinese state media reported the first known death from an illness caused by the virus. April 2nd is the day that topped 1 million cases. Now it is more than 11.8 million people that are sickened by the virus and at least 550,000 people who have died. As of the 8th of July, the government of Canada is predicting a deficit of $343 billion. Stat Canada says that more than 50% of Canadian companies have lost at least one-fifth of their revenues because of the COVID-19. There's a third that have lost at least 30%. In April, it was 7 million Canadians who applied to the Canadian Emergency Response Benefit because they lost their job due to the COVID. It represents about a third of the Canadian labor force. Retail businesses are starting to close down. They get themselves restructuring under the Companies and Creditor Arrangement Act, representing almost 14% of the Canadian GDP. It is more than $230 billion with measures to protect health and safety of Canadians and provide direct support to Canadian business and other employers. The unemployment rate in Canada passed from 13.7 to 12.3%. There's about 1 million new jobs that appeared on the market for the month of June. Reckoning that the COVID-19 has changed our world, that the Canadian economy is now a new phase, we can now observe and understand the new ways customers behave. Knowing that so many businesses won't make it through the crisis, we couldn't do nothing. So we ask ourselves, how can those businesses thrive through the crisis? With all the knowledge that we've learned in this class, we ask ourselves, how can small and medium Canadian enterprise succeed through the COVID-19 crisis by analyzing and understanding consumer behavior? To answer this question, we went through two processes of research for the two main topics of our research. Our first topic was the consumer behavior during the COVID-19. We first pulled out the four main pillars of consumer behaviors changement: buying local, buying online, the use of social media, and the need for essential groceries. We understood that the way consumers behaved during the crisis was quite different and there was going to be a lot of articles about it. It is why we mainly used secondary researches to understand how consumers behaved. We also made a survey with friends and family to understand their opinion on the four different points we have studied. For the second topic of our research, how have businesses adapted to the way consumer behave? We also used secondary researches, but we also interviewed an entrepreneur that made a 100-degree change with the way he was doing business.
For a number of reasons, local farms around Ottawa have seen an increase in the number of shoppers. Whether it be a result of the health risks that come with shopping at big-name grocery stores or the additional time consumers have to educate themselves on healthier food choices, it is evident that COVID-19 has changed the way consumers shop. Studies reveal that people are more inclined to shop locally at their favorite coffee shop or boutique so that they do not go out of business. Another study revealed that 68% of people who had recently shopped locally had tipped more than they usually do, showing just how much consumers understand the current pressure local businesses face. A study conducted by Ernst & Young revealed that 42% of consumers believe that the way that they shop will be forever changed by COVID-19, 34% of which saying that they are willing to pay more for local products. However, despite the push to shop local, one of the major problems local businesses face is the increase in online shopping. In April of this year, retail sales dropped 26.4% down to $34.7 billion. Combined with March, retail sales since the implementation of social distancing have dropped more than a third. On the other hand, online sales totaled $3.4 billion in April, a 120% increase compared to April of last year. Surveys reveal that 3 in 10 Canadians are shopping online for items that they usually would have bought in store. most likely due to a combination of health risks that come with shopping in person and the limited hours of stores that consumers usually shop at. As consumers spend more time at home, they have more time to learn new things. This has been proven by the sharp increase in the online purchasing of at home entertainment or hobby items. There has been a 652% increase in the online sales of bread makers, a 307% increase in the online sales of weight training equipment, and a 117% increase in the online sales of arts and craft equipment, showing just how much time consumers are spending at home.
The new coronavirus had also an effect on social media. Indeed, forced confinement for many months has pushed consumers to adapt. They first went on social media to entertain themselves, but also to be able to interact with people. Social media, then, became a way to feel better and surrounded by other peoples. This phenomenon has contributed to the expansion of many more medias, such as TikTok. We can see on this graphic that TikTok has gained 315 million downloads during coronavirus and during quarantine, and that makes it became the famous app during the coronavirus period. In a second time, consumers in panic wanted to avoid any contact with the rest of the world. This obviously leads and had an impact on online shopping websites. According to research done by Radio-Canada from March 28 to March 29, the number of consumers buying online increased by 28% and could rise 60 to 60% if the situation does not improve. When the virus appeared, it caused a huge panic. The population, being panicked, started mobilizing to gather as much provision as possible to avoid going out. During this period of crisis, many phenomena has appeared. Indeed, people was rushing for essential stuff. The toilet paper was missing, the stock of meat that were insufficient, the out of stock regarding the mask, the alcohol, and also the hand sanitizer. However, the phenomenon that stands out the most is the lack of toilet paper. Indeed, as we can see on those pictures, all the essential stuff were missing in most of the supermarket in Canada. This phenomenon has been the most mentioned through on television channels, but also the one for which consumers were willing to fight for more. According to Canadian press, demand for toilet paper in Canada has soared by 241% since COVID. We can also see an herding behavior effect from consumers who are no longer able to make the difference between their needs and their wants.
To get a better understanding of how consumers behave during the crisis, we asked 22 of our friends and family one question about the 4 different ways we have studied consumer behavior changement during the COVID-19. Of these 22 persons, 12 were women and 10 were men. Their age ranged from 21 years old to 60 years old. It is a great sample of average working person, the ideal consumer. The first question was, did they buy more locally during the crisis? 18 of them answered yes, and 4 no. Of the 18, a lot of them said that they wanted to help local economy. The second question was, for the last 3 months, have you bought more online compared to the last year at the same date? 20, and I'm saying 20 out of the 22 have said yes, and they based their opinion on their impression and on the amount of online orders they found on their credit card report. The third question was, for the last 3 months, is is your use of social media more important than at the same date last year? It looked up to their use on Facebook, and 16 out of 22 said yes. The final question was, at the beginning of the crisis, did you feel you needed to rush into store to get essential groceries to pass through? 10 said yes, because they were scared they were going to miss something, but 12 said no, because they found other ways to get it. As we can see with this survey, we get a good portrait of what we found in our secondary research, but we also get a nice understanding of the why they react like it.
Now that we know how consumer behavior has changed over the course of the coronavirus and pandemic, we can begin to assess how small and medium-sized businesses have also adapted to this changing consumer behavior. Now, when it comes to buying local, we now know that more consumers are wanting to switch more to buying more locally based products. So, small and medium businesses can use this to their advantage. One way that they can do this is to be admitted into a local business group, such as ADM3321, which basically helps promote these smaller businesses and help show consumers that they're locally owned and operated. Another way that they can do this is to take more safe measures within their store and just allow for consumers to feel more safe and to shop easy during this coronavirus pandemic. Uh, Another way that these businesses can do this is to take steps to promote some of the very local factors of their business. Say if it's a grocery store, then maybe promote some of the fruits and vegetables that come directly from that specific town, and just have that at the front in a good advertising manner. The second topic is e-commerce, which is almost essential for some of these small to medium-sized enterprises to survive during the virus. Um, One of the stats that I took from Shopify is that the new store creation rose by 62% within the first 6 weeks. Um, this is just proof that the growth of Shopify means that even small or even medium-sized companies can compete with the likes of Amazon and Alibaba online if they have to. And some small and medium-sized enterprises have also even considered their online presence to be necessary in order to survive during this pandemic.
Next part is social media. During the lockdown, the majority of people are using social media platform to gather information about COVID-19. Social media has been integral in spreading fear and panic related to the COVID-19 globally. Facebook was the used social media network spreading panic about COVID-19 outbreak. The anxiety has caused consumers to rush and shop in large stock in anticipation of the worst. Small and medium enterprises will be understanding the consumers' needs through social media and to align their products offer and distribution system so as to scale down new consumption limited and to exploit the sales acts. Next part we move to people rushing for essential stuff. According to the research, that toilet paper, hand sanitizer, and masks rose drastically during the COVID-19. According to the statistics released in week ending 14th March, both issues buying had risen up by 241% compared to the same time last year. Even more surprising, mask sales increased by 122% during the last week of January and rose to 377% compared to the same week period in last year. In conclusion, it is remarkable to appreciate that consumers' behavior will require small and medium enterprises in Canada to adopt the strategy and identify new ways to reach to their target customers. There is therefore a growing demand for long-life food product than perishable food products in some countries.
We had the chance to interview the president of Gaetansa Distribution. It is a local distributor of the Ottawa-Gatineau region. In 24 hours, they lost almost all of their clients, since all the restaurants had closed. Understanding that people were rushing to supermarkets, they saw an opportunity to turn their luck around and change the way they did business. In a week, they put in place a top-of-the-line website, letting people order food online through their platform. 24 hours later, the order the client had made was received at their door. Nico, the president, said that they understood how consumers behave and they wanted to find a solution to the problem. They were all rushing to superstores to get their grocery. But now they don't need to rush in. They can order online through their platform. They don't need to get into public spaces. They don't need to see anyone. And they also encourage local producers at the same time. With their great strategy and a big push on social media, they managed to triple their usual revenues in only 2 months. This is a great example of an enterprise that managed to adapt to the need of consumers. They understood the way their consumers behave and adapted their company while succeeding in a pandemic.
With the research that we were able to find, we found that businesses were able to adapt their model to the new consumer trends of the COVID era. During this pandemic, the behavior of typical consumer changed a lot. Businesses need to be on top of their toes in order to find ways of dealing with this situation. We found that there were 4 key points that small and medium-sized businesses needed to take into account in order to succeed during this pandemic. These include putting an emphasis on the local factor of things, using social media like they never have before, implementing an online solution, and finding a solution to a problem just like Gaetan did. Now, to leave you with one final point, understanding consumer behavior and a pandemic or not is key to have a thriving business.